You're about to enter an environment which will be the most challenging your brain will ever have to deal with. Your brain will have to perform complex tasks. Yet we can all do it without thinking about it. You're going to a party. It may seem effortless, but whenever you mix with other people, your mind performs phenomenally complex tasks at a dizzying speed. In fact, what we do at a party would leave the world's most powerful computer standing. From the moment you enter a room, you pick out one face from another. You begin a series of detailed assessments of everyone. From what their faces tell you, you decide what you think of them and even start to understand what they are thinking. In this program, we'll be exploring just how our mind does this and how what happens in a place like this shapes the world we live in. This is the story of how we relate to other people. And understanding how our mind does that can help us use it better. We'll see experiments that show the hidden potential of your mind. We'll learn how to tell a fake smile from a real one. How to tell if someone really likes you. We'll see how all of us can read minds. We'll discover how an experience like this can tell us who to trust. And we'll find out just what our mind must do to win the friendship and love of those who matter most. We all rely on our mind as we try to win over people that we've never met before.
Good afternoon, Peter. Are you sitting nicely?
Yes, we are.
But the mind of 30-year-old primary school teacher Mia Bragg is about to face a particularly tough challenge.
Something very special. What's happening to Miss Bragg in the holiday? Mahadi.
You're getting married.
I'm getting married.
But as well as tying the knot, Mia will also have to get to know dozens of people she's never met.
And I tell you why, because my boyfriend comes from New Zealand, that's where his family are. And I haven't met his mum, I haven't met his dad, I haven't met his sister, so I'm going all the way over there to meet his family.
When are you getting married?
I'm getting married on the 15th of August. It's been an absolute whirlwind since me and Matt met. It's been like a fairy tale. We met, and then a month and a half later he moved in, and then just after a month after that we got engaged, and it will be 10 months that we would have actually known each other when we get married.
Ask her if Paul and that are coming around on Friday.
Mia will have to assess, understand and win round Matthew's family. It'll be one of the most complicated things her mind has ever done, and we'll be following her as she tries to do it.
Yeah, on Friday. Yeah. Ah! No, we'll get on with them.
But why is getting on with people so complicated for our mind? Well, let's start at the beginning. First, we have to be able to tell each person apart. If we couldn't do that, life would be very difficult indeed. Just imagine if all faces looked the same to us. It would be a nightmare. But we can tell each other apart, and it's a skill we start to develop the first chance we get.
Give it up, 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 give it up.
And another one. Longer push. Push like that again. Don't let it come on. Come on, push. That's one long push and finish.
Come on, Carrie, push it. Come on, Carrie.
Push again. And again, push, Carrie. This is the last one.
Come on, Carrie.
Keep punching now. Open your legs and punch. Keep punching.
Utterly defenseless, this little girl seems to have come into the world with few social skills.
My name is Isla.
But she does have one crucial one, and within seconds of being born, she uses it.
Try to open eyes. Try to open eyes.
Through the blur of her first sight, baby Isla instinctively turns towards a face. This strengthens the bond between her and her mother. But this, the first face she's ever seen, is also physically altering her brain. This first moment of Isla's social life is stimulating her brain at the tiniest level. Our brain contains complex networks of brain cells called neurons. Like all of us, Isla has been born with a staggering 100 billion of them. These neurons are connected to each other at tiny junctions called synapses. As Isla sees her mother's face for the first time, an electrical signal is created. This signal travels through these synapses along a pathway which is unique to her mother's face. As she sees another face, her father's, a different pathway is stimulated in her brain. From now on, Isla's brain will adapt and develop, creating many more pathways as she meets new people. But even at this tender age, a baby's ability to distinguish between faces is almost unbelievable.
What now?
Like all babies, little Grace here can look at the faces of primates, like these lemurs, and actually tell one from another.
What are you doing?
But what's interesting is that her older sister can't.
He's scratching.
To her, all these lemurs look the same. So how are you doing? Well, let's make it easier for you. Can you tell them apart now? No? Well, you're not alone. Because it turns out that even people who've spent a lifetime studying primates like these lemurs can't tell their faces apart. But just like little Grace, there was a time in our lives when all of us could. And scientists at Sheffield University have proved it. They showed primate faces to two sets of babies. One group under 6 months, the other over 9 months. To start with, all the babies looked at the faces and their attention was held. But when the researchers tried again with a different face, the results were astonishing. The older babies refused to look at the new face. They were bored. They thought they'd seen it before. Clearly, they couldn't see the difference in the two faces. But when the younger babies were shown the new face, it was a different story. They were fascinated. That's because they could see that this was a different lemur. But in order to get on in a world of humans, all babies have to lose this extraordinary skill. So what happens to make a baby's brain more like their parents? The answer to this tells us a lot about the way our brain develops its ability to communicate with other people.
A baby's brain is a little bit like this tray of cress, with all the seeds representing individual connections or synapses, all doing different jobs.
From the moment they're born, the number of connections flourishes, leaving babies with 1.5 times as many synapses as an adult. This gives them skills they will simply never need, like recognizing the difference in primate faces. Our brain now has too many synapses. It needs to specialize. Which connections live and die depends on who we look at. Human babies grow up looking almost entirely at human faces. So the connections that process these continue to survive and grow. What babies don't use, they lose, including the connections that recognize primate faces. This means by 10 months, their skills at recognizing the difference in human faces are better than ever. As babies, our synapses are pruned to make us expert at dealing with other human beings, which is just as well, because the world around us is about to get far more complicated. After seeing only a few faces in the earliest months of our lives, we go on to meet many, many thousands. But because our minds now specialize in human faces, we become experts in distinguishing one from another. In fact, of the 6 billion people on Earth, most of us would be able to see a difference between every one of them. But even this isn't really enough. Telling faces apart is one thing, but working out what we think of them is quite another. And doing this places extra demands on our brain. Not only does your mind have to recognize faces, it also has to read them. It's a bit like that timetable. You may know what you're looking at, but unless you can understand what it all means, you're not going to get very far. Reading faces is key to how we form those all-important first impressions. It's the next step towards achieving what so much of our brain is devoted to: getting on with people. None of Mia Bragg's family is able to be with her at her wedding in New Zealand. She'll be on her own as she meets her future in-laws for the first time. If Mia and her husband are to make a new life out there, it's vital that she gets on with them.
Relax before you get there.
I suppose I'm worried that if I go out there and I don't like it, you know, how can I turn around and say that, you know, I don't feel that this is the base that I want for the rest of my life. So yeah, I am definitely worried. There's a lot to think about.
Once she reaches New Zealand, no relationship will matter more than the one between her and Matthew's mother, Mira.
I think Mum's going to be excited, but she's also going to be very nervous about it too. I mean, it's not every day your son brings home a girl from overseas. Mum and Mia are both very, very strong-willed people, and they would both call a spade, and that's where I could see conflict coming into the equation.
I say it as it is. You know, if I don't like something, I say it, you know, whether they like it or not. That's too bad. If it's been bugging me for a while or someone's annoyed me for a while, I mean, bang, they get a mouthful, and that's how it is. So if Mia wants, you know, to get on, she's just got to be herself.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I had some of those and drink the coffee with.
It's been cold.
Huh?
It is cold. How are you feeling?
I don't know, I feel a bit weird. Keep going hot and cold. I've got heartburn now as well. I'm just hoping that I am the right person to his mum and dad. I hope I come across as the person that's going to make him happy, but I don't know because I don't know them. Oh my god. Oh my god.
After months of waiting, much of how Mia and Mira feel about each other will be decided by their first impressions.
Oh, it's so good to meet you. Welcome to the business.
In the first moments of a meeting, our mind goes into overdrive. As well as processing and storing faces, it registers countless signals. But one signal, more than any other, affects the first impression we have of someone. The smile. It makes us feel they mean us no harm. But in fact, your mind doesn't always know whether or not a smile is genuine. That is, unless you know what to look for. This is actress Jacqueline Haig, and according to the world's leading facial expressions expert, she has one of the best fake smiles in the business. But with our help, you'll be able to tell when even she is faking it.
Anything that kind of smells more.
Jacqueline appears to enjoy buying flowers.
Hi, how are you?
And she seems happy to have met a friend. But a trained eye could spot that one of these smiles is in fact a fake. And that's because they're controlled by different parts of Jacqueline's brain. A fake smile involves a direct signal from one area of her brain to another. The part that plans what Jacqueline's going to do sends a signal directly to the part that controls her physical movement. This moves the muscles around her mouth and makes her smile. But no matter how hard she tries, there are parts of her face that this type of signal cannot reach. A genuine smile involves a different type of signal, one that takes a more complicated route. When her senses are stimulated by a genuinely pleasurable experience, this signal passes through the part of the brain that processes emotion. Here, it's boosted, so that when it arrives at the area controlling Jacqueline's facial muscles, it not only moves her mouth, it also moves the muscles around her eyes. They crease up and her eyebrow dips ever so slightly. Signs that show that of Jacqueline's two smiles, the one at the flower stall was the real thing. And however pleased she seemed to see her friend, she was in fact acting. So understanding what's going on in someone else's brain can help you form a more accurate first impression from their smile. Just watch for the lines around their eyes. But the first impressions we form of people are also shaped by what happens in our own brains. In fact, our brain makes countless judgments about people without us being aware of it. And perhaps the most basic of these is, do we trust this person? To find out how our mind makes that decision, we've brought a volunteer to the coast of South Africa and to some of the most hazardous waters in the world. When we see someone we don't trust, a specific area of our brain is stimulated, like a bell that rings to tell us not to trust them. And crucially, it's the same bell that rings when we're frightened. To show how this trust area in our brain works, our volunteer has to become frightened. So he's come not to meet an untrustworthy person, but 1 ton of great white shark. Right in the center of his brain is that area which triggers fear and distrust, and it's called the amygdala. Every time a shark approaches, it's stimulated. And however much he tries, he can't stop it happening. And it's that area inside his head that's causing him to feel frightened at this moment.
That was really frightening. I'm very happy not to do that again, I think, for a while.
What's interesting is that he knew the shark couldn't get to him through the cage, but it still didn't stop him feeling frightened. We clearly have no control over the way our amygdala registers both fear and distrust, which makes a huge difference when we come to meet people face to face. So, what triggers our brain to distrust people in a way we can't control? To find out, we decided to test a panel of 12 volunteers, our jury. We showed them a lineup of 5 men of the same age and racial background, and asked the jury to decide who they trusted the least. This test was similar to research carried out by scientists in Boston. Our results, like theirs, help reveal which facial features trigger distrust.
We believe the least trustworthy to be A, and the most trustworthy to be E.
So why, according to the jury's first impressions, was this man the least trusted, and why was this man a close second? The answer is written on their faces.
His features really stuck out
Heavy
as being
features.
very sort of like the eyebrows are very sort of shifty looking.
Thin, weaselly features, and unfortunately for D, it was his nose.
The faces of both these men are non-symmetrical. They have smaller eyes and thinner faces than the other men. These features caused the feeling of distrust in the brains of our jury. And the 2 most trustworthy men? Well, both of them had broad features with smooth skin and large eyes. Faces that scientists would say are baby-like.
I imagine my mum going up to him and going like that. That's what made him most trustworthy for me. He was typically son-like.
When we see faces like this, without knowing it, our natural feelings for children are often hijacked, and that causes a feeling of trust in our brains that we can't control. In fact, all these men were selected because they work in highly trusted positions. So next time you meet someone you don't trust, be careful. Your brain might be fooling you.
Thank you.
30 seconds ago, Mia met her fiancé's parents for the first time. Her mind immediately began forming a first impression of her future mother-in-law.
Hello, I'm quiet as well. I'm not normally like this. I'm normally chat for England, but can I just have a glass of water, please? You're not how I imagined you at all. I'm sorry? No, I haven't seen any photos either. I was like, no, not at all.
Perhaps you can't describe me, you see. When I first came to the house, there were a lot of cold silences where people weren't talking, and I know I was trying to fill them with questions or different kinds of conversation. I think I was conscious that they probably were thinking about me or making a split judgment or something more negative.
And you've brought a suit?
Yes. He's got a suit.
I think it'd be nice to see everyone smart. I've written a speech.
With first impressions out of the way, the process of really getting to know her new family can begin. The wedding is in 4 days.
So this end is where we're going to get married? Yeah. What do you think, Matt?
On her second day, things don't seem to be getting any easier.
I mean, you see, those sort of decisions are not mine. Because, I think I'm probably the most stressed I have felt. I just want them to get to know me. I don't want them to agree with everything about me, but I want them to get to know me and me the same as them. So, yeah, we can have a bit more of a joke.
Yeah.
Does the groom want to have a buttonhole that's going to match the tones that you're having, or do you just want him to go for a white rose buttonhole?
Just the white rose.
The more time they spend together, the more Mia starts to notice Mira's body movement. Does this provide a clue as to what she thinks of her?
So they'll be lovely.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about the greenery around the edge, but I think that'd be nice.
Yes.
She does that a lot, either that or that. And I think she's thinking, it might be kind of getting in front of her mouth, so she's not going to say something yet. That's how I took it anyway.
Or an extension of yourself rather than, something...
There are ways of watching how someone moves that can tell us what's happening in their mind.
Caroline.
In fact, scientists have now discovered that this can even reveal if they actually like us or not.
Or do you want any sort of fresh flower?
To show this, we took two men, Mr. Nice and Mr. Nasty, and placed them in a controlled environment. Then we asked several volunteers to meet them and discuss different subjects.
Favourite films?
Yeah, well, got plenty of those.
You go first.
What the volunteers didn't know was that while Mr. Nice was being friendly and warm, Mr. Nasty was being as negative and as difficult as possible.
Philadelphia Story.
Yeah. I didn't like that very much.
No.
Not really.
But crucially, both Mr. Nice and Mr. Nasty have been asked to deliberately move their bodies in specific ways.
So you got any more favourites?
While cameras watched for a response in the volunteers that would reveal what was going on in their mind.
Well, a bit of what?
Gradually, as the conversations developed, an extraordinary thing began to happen. The volunteers with Mr. Nice gradually began to copy him.
They can use those well, and the acting was so good, they kind of all got away with it. And the other one's Last of the Mohicans.
No, I didn't see
I mean, God, there's no reason to suggest that we should like that, but there's some...
Meanwhile, those with Mr. Nasty didn't copy him at all.
Well, I'm really enjoying 24 at the moment. Have you seen that?
Saw it once. Yeah, didn't like it very much.
No?
No.
I think it's the sort of thing I like going to the cinema with myself.
Because the volunteers like Mr. Nice,
I mean, some people say they like to, share
their mind prompted them to mimic him.
No, I often go by myself.
A subconscious attempt to strengthen the bond between them.
Well, that's what everyone says, it's fantastic.
Fantastic.
I saw Eamon Holmes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you speak to him?
No.
Scientists have known for some time that our mind automatically notices and sometimes even makes us mimic what other people are doing. What they haven't known is how the brain does it. But recently, researchers made an extraordinary breakthrough. What's more, they believe this discovery may even be the key to knowing what someone else is feeling. It's all to do with something that happens in our brains when we see people move. And if you want to know what that is, just watch these two crews race to that bridge. Attention! It seems the secret to understanding what people feel lies in watching them move. But to know what's now happening in your brain, we have to look at what's going on in theirs. a particular part of the brain is controlling each of the physical movements they're making. But in this area, there's also a small cluster of cells which help prepare their body for its next movement. Every action, in this case it's rowing, has its own unique pattern. And scientists believe that these cells are the key to how human beings relate to each other. Because not only are these cells firing in the brains of the rowers, they're also firing in exactly the same way in the brain of anybody who's watching them. In other words, the cells which are helping these guys row now are firing in your brain, just as if you were rowing yourself. That's why they're called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons mean that you're not only watching what these men are doing, your mind is actually feeling something of what they're feeling. Even if you haven't done all the hard work. But how does all this affect your social life? Well, if you know what someone is feeling, the chances are you'll know what they're thinking. Our mirror neurons help us literally to read other people's mind. Mind reading is the ability to know, or at least to make an informed guess, what someone else is thinking. It's one of the most amazing skills the human mind possesses. And what's more, you do it with no apparent effort. Take this woman. In an instant, you can guess what she's thinking. And what's more, by also reading the mind of the person next to her, you can work out why she's feeling this way. What about a third person watching this scene? He clearly finds it funny that this man fancies someone who doesn't fancy him. While they've been reading each other's minds, you've been reading theirs. And what was happening in our heads to make it possible is astonishing. The mirror neurons fire, helping us to understand what someone else is feeling. But then, many other parts of the brain are triggered. Areas which allow us to recognize facial expressions. Areas which let us draw on memories and past experience. And then the part which puts all this information together and decides what it all means. Many different areas of the brain work together to achieve all this, and it happens in an instant. Out in New Zealand, things are becoming more relaxed between Mia Bragg and the woman who will in 2 days' time be her mother-in-law.
I think my relationship with Mira has progressed over the last few days. I think at the beginning she kind of sat back and kind of not withdrew, but probably was thinking a lot more and pondering about things, where now she'll come forwards more and talk more directly to me, which is a big thing.
Did you meet Ginny?
No, we were running late to go to the hairdresser, so he literally ran in and got the...
It's Mia's mind-reading skills that are helping her better understand and get on with Mira.
I think Mira's probably quite nervous about the wedding, so I'm being kind of very, very positive, and I suppose giving her lots of praise and things I know she's already set up or organised.
Do you like the ribbon? Yeah, she's got the...
Because I think that would be perfect for my necklace. And I'm reassuring her on any situations or decisions that she made before I got here were the right ones. I think I made the right decision putting it in my suitcase. And over the last couple of days, I think I know from eye contact we're okay with each other. It's going to be fine.
No,
it's going to be fine.
Do you like? Yes, I do. It's very nice. Yep. If I didn't think it was nice, I
you would tell me.
Well, I wouldn't tell you, but I think you'd sense that I would.
Yeah.
Mind reading doesn't just happen with people we know. Virtually every time we meet someone, we try to work out what they're thinking. And this can make us say some surprising things. As actress Trisha Dibb found out when we asked her to do some retail therapy with a difference. She agreed to pick out the most unsuitable clothes she could find to make her look as unattractive as possible.
I would look awful in that. We'll have to have it. Oh, I haven't worn these since I was 16. Gotta have them. Look at them. What do you think? I would look absolutely awful in that. Nice and see-through. Look good. Do you like a bit of glitter?
Once she'd made her selection, she would ask unsuspecting passers-by what they thought. Would people tell Trisha the truth?
I can't go out like that.
Or would they read her mind and tell her what they thought she wanted to hear?
Excuse me, do you think these trousers suit me?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're not tight.
They're not too tight?
No, they're not.
Oh, it gets worse and worse. Excuse me?
Yeah.
Just suits me, does it, you think?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The colours, do you like the colours? Do you think they suit me?
No, that looks really nice.
Yeah? Excuse me, can I just ask you, do you think this suits me? What do you think?
I think it does.
Yeah? Yeah, the colour's nice, isn't it? I like the... I love this pink, it's really nice, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah. The whole outfit looks alright.
It does look nice.
Yeah?
Well, I thought she felt she looked nice in it, and I just didn't think that it was fair to tell her that she didn't.
Excuse me, this suits me, doesn't it? Yeah? Yeah? What do you think about the colour?
I didn't like the colour. I think the colour suits you.
I think the colour suits me.
She looked like really happy that she found something that she really liked. I didn't really want to let her down, I suppose.
Do you think this suits me?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah?
It does, yeah.
Yeah?
She probably shouldn't wear a top like that. It was a bit young for her.
I don't know, it fits nicely.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's nice.
I think she thought that she looked quite nice in it. Because if you thought you looked really awful in it, you wouldn't go and ask someone, would you? I wouldn't.
Does it suit me? Yeah? You think, yeah? Is it good? The colour good?
All these people were reading Trisha's mind before answering.
The colours look nice, don't
Colours
they?
are because you've got that colouring, haven't you?
Yeah, it's even better, isn't it? Do you think so? Is that nice?
It shows just how often we use this skill to get on with people better.
Not on the bottom.
It looks slim.
Look nice and soft. That's kind of you. Thank you. Thanks for your help. Thank you.
But of course, socializing is only the start of the story. How we deal with other people affects almost every aspect of the world we live in. In ways we may never realize, we try to work out what others are thinking before deciding what to do ourselves. Mind reading drives our economy and shapes our society. It's what allows you to understand and accept that people have different interests and different views. And this is what allows us to have cultural and religious tolerance. This same skill lets you see the world through the eyes of people you've never even met. Able to imagine living other lives, we can create and appreciate so much of art, literature, and even entertainment. But of all these things, what many of us value most is the chance our social mind gives us to be intimate with those closest to us, to like, to care, and even to love.
Oh, they look lovely. They're my mum's choice, those. This is going to make me cry.
Hi Mia, just want to wish you all the very best. I love you lots and have a wonderful time. Love you.
I can hear you creaking. You better give Matt instructions on how to undo it later. think Mira thinks I'm good for Matt, and I think that's made the whole process of getting married so much easier. I mean, it could have been so different. It does make me feel really kind of relieved and relaxed, I suppose, that I have been accepted.
She is a pleasant girl. She's gentle, she's caring, and she is nice, and I like her, so I feel totally relaxed with her. I didn't feel it right at the first instance that I met her. That is something that comes with being together in time.
We all want to wish you the richest blessings that marriage can bring. Don't we, family and friends? Too right.
I will endeavour to do what I can for Mia, because she is part of the family.
Matthew and Mia, I now pronounce you to be husband and wife. You may now seal those wonderful vows you made with a very good kiss.
I don't think my brain actually probably knows what it's done in the last week or so. It's had to cope with a whole range of situations that it has never had to cope with before. It probably would have been a lot easier if I'd met somebody in an Edgware pub. But no, you can't help who you fall in love with.
Over the years, scientists have made huge advances in understanding how different areas of our bodies work. But in many ways, our mind has always been the least understood. That's partly because we're asking our mind to understand itself. But what we've seen in this series is that each discovery we do make about how our mind works can make us better at using it. And if we can use our mind better, the picture of what makes us who we are might after all become clearer.